Hey, HR friends, welcome back. We're in the 4-4 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about the last 12 hours of this sequence. Now, the 4-4, we've already talked about this. We've done an overall 6.5 day overview. So if you haven't watched that, then go ahead and check this out before you check out this 12-hour forecast we're about to do. It's going to make a whole lot more sense. Now, the daily forecasts break this into 6 days and then one half day section. We're in the last 12-hour section here. All right, so we're just going to go back a day to see what we were dealing with here. And remember, in day 6, we had a mental polarity flip that ended. We had a emotional polarity flip that started. And that emotional polarity flip that started is going to go into this last 12-hour sequence. It's going to go the entire 12-hour sequence. And I want you to see in third person how this really shoots up here. Okay, so when we start to connect into the 4-3, that will be the next emotional awareness. What's going to happen at that point is we're going to be at a metaphorical low tide and everything's going to reverse together. Okay. So these electromagnetic changes are going to affect everybody. And at the end of this 12 hours, a complete reversal, it's going to be high alert. It's always tough when we do these reversals because everything's changing at one time. That's the big deal about these 6.5 day sequences and how they come together. Now, here's the good news. As far as exchanges go, this isn't super strong, okay? It is still going to be very challenging when we do this reversal. However, when we look at the combined here, we're at a 4 in the beginning and we're at a 4 at the end. Otherwise, we're down here in this 2-3 range for the majority of this 12 hours. So this is the challenging part, okay? It's using your defenses against you. It's using your emotions against you. Now, if you allow this part to win, what happens is you can't achieve the objective. You can't stay healthy. So what this is the governing frequencies. These are the frequencies that make our space-time existence possible. And what you have to do in order to stay healthy is you have to balance your relationships with all your teammates that we exist with, and you have to balance your routine in a way that's going to make every future family that we coexist in have a better, equal, and balanced future. We just haven't created that. Look around. That's the last thing we've created. Okay. So these governing frequencies are going to help you understand the importance of your choices. If you're out of balance with the teammates that are on the left side, or if you're out of balance with the routine on the right side, that's the quadrant of your body that's going to experience accelerated aging, damage, and unpleasantness. If you're in balance with all this stuff, then what's going to happen is the four quadrants of your body, you're going to slow aging to a crawl, and you can stop and reverse disease. That's just how that works. Now, the 6.5 day sequence is nice because it kind of shows us how the testing sequence changes day to day. So if you wondered why your body's sore in certain areas, and then the next day it seems to be sore in different areas, well, this is going to help you understand that. So when we look at left upper quadrant here, you can see the testing sequence actually gets a little stronger in this last 12-hour period versus what it was in day 6. As far as right upper quadrant goes, that's going to be pretty much the same. Where we ended in day 6 is where we're going to continue into 6.5. Same thing here with the left lower quadrant. And the right lower quadrant actually falls off a little bit. So we've got a little increase in the left, we've got a little decrease in the right lower. And other than that, it's going to kind of feel similar to what we experienced in the previous day. All right, so let's keep moving here. Let's get into the detailed forecast. So when we get into the zoomed in, what we're really looking at here are these alignments. And today is going to be a busy day in alignments. All right. Now, before we talk about these, I want you to see the title change that I was talking about up there. You see how at a split second, at the end of this 12 hours, we're going to have an elevated third person. This is going to drop down to 0, and then it's going to pop way up in first person. This is when that metaphorical tide changes out, and this is really tough to get through. Okay. And you can see it gets up to that 7 range when we do this connection here, and it's going to stay elevated into the next 12 hours. So this is going to be a little bit of a spicy exchange here, and you really got to be cautious of first person when we get into it. All right, so we're only going to talk about the first 12 hours, which means we're only going to talk about these 3 alignments right here. We'll talk about this alignment in the next forecast. So these alignments are just when two frequencies within a quadrant that are testing the same thing, they amplify. The blue ones are testing to see how balanced we are with our teammates. The purple ones are testing to see how balanced we are with our routines. The first one we're going to talk about is the longest one of the day. It's this EP right here, 12.25 hours. This is going to test to see how well you're balancing your routine at the larger levels. Okay. So you're gonna feel it in your left upper quadrant if you're not balancing with the national and world perspective during this alignment. And this one's going to go on for a long time. This is going to be something people are going to experience. This is going to be an easy day to confirm why, for example, your left shoulder is giving you trouble this 12 hours versus why it's not going to give you as much trouble in the next 24. That's how that works. That's only if you're out of balance. And most of us are. Don't feel bad. We're designed to be out of balance. We got to commit to our team and we got to commit to balanced routines. If we don't, there's a penalty. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is this EE right here. This is an hour and a half alignment. It's this guy right here. This is going to test to see how well we're getting along with the older teammates on the team. So the upper parts of the body have to do with the maturing members of the team. And remember, when you're getting along with teammates, it doesn't matter if they're old, if they're young, if they're male, if they're female. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to coordinate. You have to help them alleviate stress. And you have to talk about balancing routines together to create a better world for all of the future families. If you're not doing those things, then unfortunately, the less you're doing those things, the more you're going to feel it in this upper right quadrant during this hour and a half alignment. Now, the last alignment we're going to talk about is the EE. This is a 3-hour alignment. It's testing the same thing. So these tests are reciprocal. They only test us on 8 things, and these are just the times when there are going to be amplified tests. Think of them like a pop quiz that has more weight in your grade. If you do poorly on these pop quizzes, well, it just accelerates your demise. It accelerates the unpleasantness you feel. So this is actually a great confirmation day. If you feel it in your upper quadrants of your body, specifically the left side, but you also feel this right side kind of elevate as we go through these 2 alignments, it's letting you know you're just out of balance. That's giving you first-hand experience. You can feel why it is you're going to want to make a change here. All right, so this is just the testing sequence. We already talked about this up top. It's just zoomed in, so you can reference this. You can go to healthreconnected.com. We've got a live feed, and the time bar will come up and run and show you exactly where we are in the sequence. These graphs down here, we do these because they're helpful. These are where the strongest frequencies sit. You see, there are many frequencies that are going to test us, and all they test us on is how well we get along with our team and how balanced our routine are. But these are strong. So where these sit are really going to set the tone. And it's actually kind of balanced today. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the left. There's a little bit of mismatch here, meaning, look at here. In the top left quadrant in first person, if you get left quadrant pain in this next 12-hour period of time, we know darn well it's your routines. There's nothing being tested on the team side. It's all routine down here. Same thing on this one. If you feel left lower quadrant, you see how there's nothing in third person, but there is in first, we know you've got a first person issue. We've got another one here as well. If you get right upper quadrant pain in this 12-hour period, we know you're dealing with your teammates. Now, the only one that has overlap is this right lower quadrant. And if that happens where you get pain in your right lower quadrant and you want to know which one it is, then you really just got to keep track of what you feel and when you feel it. And our software will help you understand that. But don't overcomplicate this. Commit to your team, balance your routine. Don't worry about these graphs anymore after that. All right, let's end this out. So as always, we show you that we posted the electromagnetics for the rest of 2024. We want every individual to see this pattern weeks and months before it even happens. We want you prepared because if you don't get stressed out, if you can eliminate your stress and you can eliminate the stress this is causing the people around you, what we can do is we can help you get healthy immediately. Now, when we get many, many people, so when we get regions of people starting to overcome this pattern, that's what Health Reconnect is trying to do, is we're trying to create a collective effect. We're trying to make things bigger at the larger level and the smaller level, but to do that, we need your help. All right, we'll see you in the next forecast when we start the next awareness, the 4-3. Talk to you then.